Hello and welcome back to the Bottom Bins podcast. Very special episode for you today. We are doing our mid-season review of the Premier League. No games this weekend, unfortunately. There was FA Cup. So we thought we'll still get an episode out and we will focus on our mid-season sort of review and some of our predictions then for the second half of the season and just looking over that first half of the season as a whole. So I think the format, lads, for this one today, I'm just going to run it down. I'm going to start with the top of the table and just work our way down to 20th then. Sounds good, yeah?
Yep, no problem.
No worries. All right then, lads, we'll start with the league leaders at the minute. Arsenal. Played 19, they've won 16, drawn twice and only been beaten once. They've a goal difference of plus 29, sitting on 50 points, sitting pretty, 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Oren, talk me through Arsenal's first half of the Premier League campaign.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal for them. We've said it week after week, it's good to see one of the biggest clubs in England back where they belong, up in the top half of the table, fighting for titles. Look, they've stuck with Arteta. It's proved to be the best thing for them. So credit to the board of directors at Arsenal for doing that there, because there was a lot of points. Let's be real. There was a lot of points where Arteta could have walked or been sacked. They've invested in their youth very much, especially last season with the likes of Emile Smith-Rowe and that coming through and providing more options for Arsenal, bringing a better dynamic for them going forward, and this season they're reaping the rewards. I'd say they've probably the best attack in the league, one of the best attacks in Europe at the minute, with Saka, in my opinion, one of the best forwards in world football, let alone in the Premier League. Saka on the right, Martinelli on the left, and when Gabriel Jesus is fit, he's back up at the top, but even when he's not fit, we've got Eddie Nketiah, who we were sceptical of, to say the least, if he could replace Gabriel Jesus, but he's stepping up to the mark now. We can clearly see that. And of course, their captain Martin Odegaard, proven to be one of the best signings in the modern Premier League era.
Yeah.
So they have a great attack, and then their defence just complements that as well. Excuse me. Their defence just complements that as well. They've got Xhaka and Partey in behind, providing that stability for them, to tell you the truth. And then obviously you can't say much about their two centre halves. Gabriel and Saliba have been phenomenal this season, and Ben White's doing a great job at right back. Questions on the goalkeeper. Zinchenko hasn't always been in the team for Arsenal as well, so there is definitely areas to strengthen. They've looked lively in the transfer window as well. They've been going after players like Mudryk, didn't work out. Now going after Moises Caicedo. If they get that, it's going to be a major coup for them, especially with the recent injury to Thomas Partey. But definitely a team that we all did not expect to be anywhere near this point at the start of the season. Probably didn't even anticipate them getting Champions League football at the start of the season. But they're exceeding our expectations, and they don't look like stopping. And they're proving me wrong every week. I've said, no, look, there's no chance of them winning the league, and I've hemmed and hawed about whether they have the depth to do it, but they're proving me wrong, and they're proving a lot of people wrong, and it looks like they could go on and do it.
Connor, obviously, you know, that is the question in everybody's mind at the minute. Like, do they have enough to maintain a title charge over the course of the second half of the season? Like, you know, they've taken some big scalps already this season, but they still have to play City twice, which is obviously very, very difficult. So what's your take on it then? Can they maintain a title charge then?
I think so. I think they're in the position now. They've got a lead. They're 5 points clear with a game in hand. They've been superb throughout the season. As Owen was saying, they're great at the back. I would say the only weakness maybe is an injury or two to their left back. Tierney and Zinchenko have been injured a lot, and the goalkeeper. But except for that, they've just been superb all around the pitch, and I do think they do have the best front three in the Premier League. They've been superb this season. Martinelli, Saka, and then if Jesus is fit, or even Nketiah has been superb since he's come in. And then Odegaard, who you could argue has been probably the best player in the Premier League this season, maybe except Haaland because he scored so many goals, but he's been superb. He's like 8 goals, 5 assists. He just leads from the front, hard worker in the team. They remind me a lot of like the Liverpool teams, how their work rate is just off the scales, and they don't look like they're tiring, and it looks like they're just going to... I know they're still in the Europa League. They're out of the FA Cup now. They can just fully focus on the Premier League. And I think if they beat Man City at the Emirates, which I expect them to do, I think they will kick on from there and win the Premier League.
And win the league
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely in the strongest position. Obviously, better to be top than to be in the pack of followers as
Yeah.
such. And they have been incredibly impressive this year. They play a lovely brand of football. Arteta has just drilled some of the best attacking patterns I think
Yeah.
I've seen in the Premier League this season. And yeah, I would agree with you, Connor. I think, if Arsenal do win the league, Martin Odegaard has to be Premier League Player of the Year.
Yep.
He's just been absolutely phenomenal this season. You're looking at a guy that has 8 goals, 5 assists already. And is it 18 games he's played? 17
18 games.
18 games. Like, he's just been absolutely phenomenal. Saka's turned it up as well. And, I love seeing the debates on social media, Saka or Rashford, who do you want in your team at the minute? Because they're both just elite level forwards, and Saka's just really, really kicked on this year, and even at the World Cup, his performances there put him up on that international stage, and now he is a world-renowned player, and I'm so glad he's getting that recognition.
He's so young as well.
So young, so talented, so versatile, can play on the right, can play on the left.
Yeah.
Very cultured player, and he's just great to watch.
His finishing this season's been superb too.
Superb, yeah.
And scored some great goals. But the thing about it as well, like, I know United and Arsenal are rivals, but it is good to see a team like Arsenal back
Definitely.
at the top,
Yeah.
because they have a good fan base, and they play a good brand of football.
Yeah.
And it'd be good to see the rivalry back, United
When you
and
talk
Arsenal.
about Premier League rivalries
Yeah,
of
history,
the past
yeah.
and history, talk about two teams fighting for the title, you're usually talking about Arsenal and Manchester United. Like, and if you're talking about the Premier League as a whole,
Yeah.
obviously recently it's been City and Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great to have this back.
Yeah,
Like, it's great to
hopefully.
have Arsenal back at the top. And
Bit of a
in couple of
downgrade on
years-
a rivalry, that one, isn't it?
I know.
City, Liverpool.
That's not
It
me
is.
being
No,
twisty.
it's
No, I'm
not.
just
It's
being
really
genuine.
not.
Like, Man United and Arsenal is a much bigger
Mm.
Premier fixture than Man City and Liverpool.
Mhm. No, I fully
Definitely,
agree.
definitely.
Fully agree. Just going on about Saka there, I'm pretty sure Saka even came into the Arsenal team in the Europa League as a left back.
Yeah, he
And he's
did.
kicked on.
He did.
Proved himself to be versatile, and now he's playing on the right wing, and he's one of the best right
I
wingers in world football.
I can't picture that by playing left back.
Yeah,
It's mad.
But he kind of came in because Pepe was playing so badly for
That's
them,
right.
and he just came in. He got a chance. Obviously,
and he took it.
And he
yeah.
took it.
Arteta
yeah.
played the young players. He took
Yeah.
the risk, and at the start it wasn't working.
Mhm.
He nearly got sacked, but
Gotta
now
give
he-
credit to Arteta though too. Like,
Oh yeah, plays such good football too.
oh, 100%. Like I was saying there about the board of directors, but Arteta's doing a great job.
Listen,
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola's influence is stamped all over the Premier
Yeah.
League at the minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've Ten Hag, Arteta. These are guys that worked directly with
Mhm.
Pep at different clubs, and
Even in the
that-
Championship, there's Burnley.
exactly
With
with
Vincent
Vincent
Kompany up at the top.
Kompany. The stamps of Guardiola are all over football at
Yeah.
the minute.
Pep completely changed the Premier League when he came in.
Completely
different game. Now.
revolutionised football, and now
Even look at teams like Brentford and teams like that.
exactly
Playing football.
all playing on the front foot. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to give up the ball anymore.
Mhm.
Yep.
Which is the way football should be when you
Yeah.
think about it. Like we say he's revolutionised football, but it's a simple philosophy.
Mhm.
Yep.
Get on the ball, play in your opponent's third. What are they going to do about it? They have to sit and defend. So it's nice to see those stamps all around the Premier League. And look, it's the best league in the world for a reason.
Mhm.
We have the best level of coaches, the best level of management, the best teams, the best players.
Yeah.
And rightly Arsenal are top of the league this
Yeah.
year.
And fair play to him.
And they've been
Definitely.
phenomenal. But talking about Pep's influence, then we'll move to Man City. Look, they're still sitting in second. They're on 45 points, but they have struggled this year, haven't they, lads? I
Yeah,
mean,
big time.
it's strange. Everybody thought when they signed Haaland, wrap the league up. That's an R1 for
Yeah.
City. But it hasn't proved out to be that way, Warren. What's your verdict on Man City then? Look, obviously they've only played 20 games. They still have 18 more games to play, and what City's like. They can
Yeah.
put together.
They could win all 18.
Exactly.
What was last year? 16 in a row or something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
And they do have that ability to do that. But ultimately, Oren, you would have to say disappointing first half of the season for City, wouldn't you?
Definitely. Like, City's out of the Carabao Cup as well, and I know Pep Guardiola can come out and say he doesn't care about that, but that's a major cup competition, and Man City's out of it. Done well, they're still in the FA Cup, but in terms of strictly the league, yeah, it's disappointing. When you think about Haaland having 25 league goals already,
And
He's
he-
obviously doing his job.
And 18 appearances.
And
there
18
were-
Can you imagine
appearances.
saying start of the year, Holland will have 25 goals and Man City won't
Will
be
be
top?
second,
Yeah,
exactly.
you would never believe
It's crazy.
that. Yeah.
It's crazy. And
But
like,
it's not even just 25 goals, it's 25 Premier League
Yeah,
goals.
Yeah,
exactly.
in 19
That's
games.
not even
It's
all
crazy.
It's insane.
competition.
I know.
it's absolutely insane. And like, we're talking about Pep's influence, but Pep Guardiola also has, like, we've all heard the term Pep Roulette. And
Yeah.
breaking news today, literally just before we came into this podcast studio, João Cancelo is going to sign for Bayern Munich on loan with an option to buy, which is crazy. If any of us thought at the start of the year, João Cancelo, who is probably the best right back and best left back in the world
Yeah.
on his day, and last season definitely was, if any of us thought that in mid-season he'd be leaving Manchester City,
Never believe it.
not a chance. Not a chance. But it shows how much faith he has in that youngster. Is it
Lewis.
Rico or Lewis? Is it
Rico Lewis.
Is it
I think
Rico
it's-
Lewis?
yeah.
His name, yeah. Shows how much faith he has in him, and he's playing good football. Look, City will turn it on. They always have a bad run of games, but City's going to turn it on. You can't expect to have another half season with Kevin De Bruyne not performing to his absolute best, with the likes of Ilkay Gundogan coming back in and getting a bit of game time and influence in that Man City team. The real lack of trust I've seen in Pep's squad this season in comparison to other seasons is with his backline. So, especially last year, you got very fixated on seeing Ruben Dias, John Stones in the Premier League as your two centre backs for Man City. You're used to that, and that's probably on their day one of the best defences in the world. Now we're seeing John Stones with Akanji, we're seeing John Stones with Ake, you're seeing Ruben Dias on the bench, you're seeing Aymeric Laporte on the bench. Like, they've got quality in the defensive line, but it always seems to be a different back four, and that's not great. You need to have some sort of structure, like you see with the likes of Arsenal. You could pick the Arsenal team now. You could pick their first 11 because you know who's going to play.
Yeah.
You could pick Man United's first 11 because you know who's going to play. Man City's, because we've got so many players and so many quality players, you don't really know who their best 11 is, and I think Pep's still trying to figure that out, especially with the new signings such as Akanji. So maybe that's where the little bit of insecurities lie with their squad this season. But look, as we've said, it's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. They could well turn it on and win all 18 games and go on and win the Premier League.
Yeah, very, very true. For me personally, just to talk about the point that you just made there, I feel like Pep does tend to overanalyze the opposition sometimes, and I feel like sometimes he tries to almost sort of psych the opposition out by playing players in
Out of position and
strange
stuff.
positions.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it does work sometimes. Like, I think Ake at left back this year has been fantastic. Didn't think Ake could play
player.
left back. Didn't think he could, push up the pitch like that. But he's actually been very, very good this year. Yeah, it's been strange to see Ruben Dias been left out of the squad so much. Again, like he's just going to let Cancelo go. Look, I know Cancelo's had a poor 4 months, 3 months. But it's still João Cancelo. This is still one of the best fullbacks in world football, and to just discount him and send him off to a possible Champions League rival is a bit strange. It is
You would have
weird.
you would have to say with that transfer they're going to try and put a clause in that if they do meet each other in the Champions League, that João Cancelo can't play.
Can't play.
You'd have to
cup
think
tie
that that's
type
going to
thing,
be.
yeah.
Yeah, like you would think so, wouldn't you? Yeah, just strange. City just have been strange this season.
Like, Cancelo's actually was playing decent up until the World Cup.
World Cup.
Until the World Cup,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, I seen like a few, they were doing like that, who's been some of the best players, team of this year kind of thing, season halfway, or not halfway stage, but before the World Cup, and he was in most people's teams.
Teams, yeah.
Like, I probably would have put him in too, but
Sure, he's been in all our fantasies for the
Yeah.
majority of the season. Do you know what I mean?
He literally only come out of my team last week.
Yeah.
like, he's been completely dropped though. Like,
Yeah.
he is down the back in order.
Yeah.
Because like, he's not getting in the left back, and then Walker and that boy Lewis are playing. So,
Yeah.
but with City, like, they're still a good team, like, obviously, but it just seems, I think we said this in a prior podcast, sometimes they're just a bit lethargic, slow on the ball, they need to get in quicker. It's just like, it must be, maybe it's just like it's just hard to keep it up. You see them with Liverpool this season, they're really struggling. I know City have such a good squad and all, but it must just be hard to keep that energy up. That's the way they play, a bit like Arsenal's high tempo,
Yeah.
quick ball to feet. And obviously, like, Foden was flying, and then
He's been dropped.
he's
too.
been dropped and he can't get back in. He was per against United, but like, if you're not getting in and you're in and out of the team, it is difficult.
It's hard to get that run of games under your belt. Look, I think the thing about City is, and looking at them now, from that outside perspective, they definitely do have a rebuilding job on their hands, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
There is a lot of players coming towards the sort of the back end of their career at City now that would probably need to be shipped on.
They need like a new midfielder, really, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't foresee Gundogan being there next season, to be honest.
I think he'll be away. Yeah.
I can't really foresee, like, take Laporte, for example. Like, Laporte signed for City and he's never really got a run of games in the first team. I think for his own career, he would probably need to move on. Like Stones is coming 29, De Bruyne is 32.
Walker's a bit older. Obviously, you got this by Lewison, but they're going to need a new left back probably. They got rid of Zinchenko, and like he probably would have been playing at the minute, which is
Mahrez.
Obviously, Aki's playing okay, but Zinchenko's been good for Arsenal, so it's kind of a strange one. But
Mahrez is 33. Like these guys, don't get me wrong, they're still good footballers and all, but like you would maybe need to look about maybe cashing in on these players now and trying to get a rebuild done. And again, a bit like Klopp, I don't really see Guardiola sticking about though for another rebuild and
I think
another revamp.
If he could get a Champions League, I think he would have already been away.
Yeah.
If he could have got the Champions League, but he's just waiting. But maybe that time is past. Maybe like new teams are going to come through now, like Arsenal, United. There's going to be rivalries formed there, and it's going to be like better competition.
Exactly.
Look, you kind of hope that happens because you don't want to see City dominating the league, really. Like so.
No, you want to see United dominating the league.
But they could easily win the 18 in a row because like they won 16 in a row last year. Liverpool never lost a game either. They won every game, and they still.
Well, there's
point.
Definitely not a chance of that happening.
No,
all right, lads. Moving on to the surprise package in third then. I don't think anybody would have put Newcastle as high up in the Premier League this season. I had our predictions at the start of the season. I know obviously we weren't doing the podcast, but when we were just talking to each other, I had Newcastle in the top 10. Don't think I had them any higher than 9th. This is just one that has completely blown everybody out of the water. But I come to you first, Owen. They have slowed down in recent weeks. So the question I want to ask you is it sustainable? Can they stay inside that top 4?
Yes, in my opinion, they can. Obviously, Spurs are starting to play a wee bit better now. But not to talk about Spurs too much before we do end up talking about them, but I think they're missing out now of Pedro Porro. It looked all sealed and signed, and apparently that's fell through this morning.
Done. It's off.
It's off. Because of Sporting, not because of Spurs.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a major. I think it's going to have a huge impact on the rest of Spurs' season. Yeah. I think if Porro had come in, Spurs really would have clicked, and they could have really pushed for that top 4 and secured that top 4 place. But I think that could have a major impact. But Newcastle, look, whenever this big influx of money came in, everybody heard, Mbappe's going to Newcastle, Messi's going to Newcastle, Ronaldo's going to Newcastle. Yeah. All the best players and highest paid players in the world were all linked with Newcastle because of this massive investment. I might be wrong in saying, but I think they're the richest club in the world.
At least one of them.
They're
definitely one of the richest.
At least one of them, anyway. But they've been tame with their investment. Don't get me wrong, they've spent a lot of money, but they've spent it on the right players. Yeah. Like they spent 15 million on Kieran Trippier, and that's probably been their best signing. They spent 10 million on Nick Pope, who's been absolutely phenomenal this season, has the most clean sheets in the top 5 leagues in Europe.
That's crazy. That they spent 10 million?
Yeah, 25 million for both them players.
Then your boy
ridiculous.
Botman, he was 35.
Botman was 35 million.
He's 23. He's been one of the best centre backs in the Premier League this year.
And he's been one of the best centre backs in Europe for the last 2 or 3 years. At least.
Like 35 million is not a lot of money for a player of that quality.
Not a chance.
They've been really good in their investment. Alexander Isak, look, he's been hindered with injuries, but he's gonna be a superstar.
4 goals in 3 appearances.
Yeah, and
if he can stay fit, that's what they're missing. They need goals. That's
like this is a player who is 22, and he's already played for Borussia Dortmund, and he's already played for Real Sociedad at a high level. Now he's way to the Premier League with a great Newcastle team.
He's gonna tear it up, like.
Yeah, Eddie Howe's done his job. He's made Miguel Almiron play like he played in the MLS with Atlanta United. Newcastle have just got it right.
Revolutionised Joe Linton.
Joe Linton playing absolutely phenomenal. And who can forget about Bruno Guimaraes?
And Bruno Guimaraes. Guimaraes
ridiculous.
Is ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And just talking about Guimaraes, Sean, it's really strange, right? Because I was thinking about this in the shower last night. This sounds a bit weird, but
Probably does, but
no, I was just sitting. I was listening.
Unreal.
I was listening to
I was
mu-
thinking about you in the shower last night.
You think about Bruno in the shower, mate?
Yeah, I do. No, I was listening to music, and there was all these. There's a song that was playing on my phone when I was in the shower, and it was one of those like TikTok edit songs.
Yeah.
But it's just a song I always loved. But it was always two videos of like Lucas Paqueta dancing after scoring goals, and I always thought to myself, like, you know, out of that midfield pairing at Lyon, I always thought
Paqueta was it.
was going to be the one. Paqueta was going to be the guy, and he's disappointed, and it's been his almost underwhelming understudy at Lyon that has been the guy that has been like, look, this is my league.
Yeah.
I'm the midfield enforcer.
Yeah.
The balance within Newcastle's team is lovely, but these last few weeks are maybe starting to show up a few cracks that we didn't see before, and it is a bit worrying.
It's just the goals. They need to score more goals.
Yeah.
They're not creating enough.
They need to score goals, but
And then
they're
as-
not conceding.
Yeah.
And they've just added Anthony Gordon to the team,
So they still need to get him.
so they still need.
They need to find goals from somewhere
Yeah.
still.
But see,
They spent 45 million on a guy who is not good.
Three deflected goals.
but this does happen though, because like probably Newcastle start of the year teams are like, oh, we can get at them, but then they're realizing this is a good team now. We have to shore it up at the back. We'll sit back and let them try and attack us.
Yeah.
And like this is why they're struggling to score goals.
They're struggling against low blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, that is where you need a playmaker. That's where you need a very sort of like an Odegaard, a De Bruyne, a Bruno.
Definitely.
That's when you need somebody like that to break sides like that down, and they just don't have that at the minute. And look, listen, that's not a slight on any of their midfielders. but,
Longstaff.
you know,
Willock.
but look, all good players.
Yeah.
And again,
I know.
Guimaraes, fantastic midfield enforcer. But Guimaraes' main trait is ball retention.
Yeah.
He's not really.
He's the ring general.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong, he has the ability to break lines, but he doesn't do it often enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't really class him as a playmaker.
Yeah.
You can't even really class him as a deep line playmaker.
But do you think
either.
they're looking at Anthony Gordon to come in and do that?
Well, fuck
But they're
them
paying
up.
45 million.
Well, do you know what? Look, I'd be the first person to say that I don't like Anthony Gordon. I don't think he's a great footballer, and I definitely don't think he's worth 45 million.
Yeah.
Because I think if he's worth 45 million, Anthony Elanga's worth 70. But Eddie Howe hasn't signed this fella for no reason.
No, he hasn't.
He's a good track
he
record.
knows he's a good track record. Even like just when we were talking about all them players, Connor, you mentioned a player earlier, and I was thinking, do you know what? Eddie Howe's done an unbelievable job with this fella, Dan Byrne.
Oh yeah.
Dan Byrne was in and out of the team at Brighton, and he signed for Newcastle for £12 million, and he's been probably one of the best left backs when he's 6'7" and is a centre back, and he's probably been one of the best left backs in the league this year.
Offers you nothing going forward, but is
No.
so defensively solid.
Sound.
But he's good for a corner as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's a steady Eddie in the Premier League, and Eddie Howe's got the best out of him. We talked about Miguel Almiron. Fabian Schär was always a good centre back, but he's a goal scoring centre back now, and he's just playing phenomenal. Eddie Howe's doing his job, and look, as we always say with Man United, like when we said about Wood Weghorst, we wouldn't have thought we were signing Wood Weghorst at the start of the year, but we trusted our manager because he wanted him.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Howe, I'm sure, has that trust from the Newcastle fans, and they're probably thinking, do you know what? If Eddie Howe wanted to spend 45 million on Anthony Gordon and he thinks he's the right man, then he's the right man.
Add a James Maddison to that side.
Oh yeah, that is what they're missing now.
Give a title challenger.
Well, I don't know about title challenger, but they comfortably make the top four.
And their
Comfortably.
strikers stay fit.
Yeah.
Wilson and
If Wilson and Isaac stay fit.
Isaac, yeah.
Bit of depth. They would need a bit of
But I think it's like came so soon because nobody expected them to be like top four. I think
Yeah.
I would have said seems to be 7th or 8th maybe.
Yeah.
Europa League maybe
And
next
then
year.
the
It's
next
just
couple of
come out of
years.
nowhere,
Yeah.
and it's like we haven't got the squad depth now. We're going to get that in the next few years, and then
Shows you how good Eddie Howe is, though.
Yeah, class manager.
he probably has been him and Arteta manager of the year.
Manager of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everton will be kicking themselves for not going for Eddie Howe when they went for Frank Lampard.
Yeah. Big time.
And if Owen was here, Celtic.
Yeah. Well, I think he's pretty happy with Big Ange.
Yeah.
But I think Everton would be kicking themselves because I don't think Everton would be in the position that they are in now.
Did they? I didn't know that. Did they have a chance at him? Did they?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They just didn't.
No, they
They approached him.
approached Howe and Frank at the same time, and then the board decided that fucking
Yeah.
Fat Frank was the better option. Like.
Eddie Howe had agreed to go to Everton though,
Big
hadn't
fat
he?
Frank.
Or something like that. He had agreed to go to Everton, I think, Eddie Howe, hadn't he?
I don't know if he had agreed it, but like he had
was
definitely,
definitely
been approached.
talks,
But
yeah.
it was the board that decided on Lampard over
Ridiculous, like.
Eddie Howe.
Which, look, when you see the resume and you see Chelsea, he didn't succeed, but when you see Chelsea on it,
Yeah. But even
probably
Eddie Howe
what
at
they looked
Bournemouth was very good manager.
he was. No, I know he was.
He's unlucky to get sacked as
Back to
well.
back promotions, like.
Yeah.
And he kept them in the Premier League for a few years and played good. They were playing good football, like.
To me, that's much more impressive than missing out on playoffs with Derby and being mediocre at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why they're complaining about the board, because they're just a disaster.
so useless. They can't make football decisions. But anyway, we'll get on
Newcastle
with
took the chance because whenever they got that big investment in, they were talking even about like the likes of Jose Mourinho going. And
Didn't Emery
managing
reject
them.
Emery.
He was, yeah.
He
Emery
did. He
was there as
rejected
well.
them. He
Emery,
rejected
Zidane,
them.
they approached Zidane as
Like,
well.
Yeah.
They realistically they could have thrown money at any manager in the world, and they probably could have secured them because money talks.
Yeah.
But they trusted in Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
And it's reaping the
Smart.
rewards.
And like, let's be honest, like when you seen Eddie Howe was the new Newcastle manager, I doubt there was many people going, yeah, that's a proper manager there.
Like when he took over, they were like bottom of the league,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he's just transformed them.
Just
Since he's come in,
Insane.
it's just crazy.
Literally, this point last season, they're sitting second from bottom.
I
of
think
the
they had
Premier
one
League.
win at this, or maybe they hadn't won a game yet in 11 games or something like that.
So-
When he took over, so
It's mental.
Ridiculous.
Mental.
Ridiculous.
All right then, on to fourth. Best team in the league, Manchester United.
Yeah.
Look, boys, it's definitely been it's been a good season thus far. I didn't have us down for making the top four this year. To be honest, I thought it was maybe going to take a year to get things right and to implement that style of football. I was wrong, evidently. The transition has happened much quicker for Manchester United this season. Oren, you have to have faith in the manager, don't you? He's delivering on all fronts, and you know United are playing some excellent football.
Yeah.
Football that we haven't seen in a very long time. So, viewers, we apologise if we do wax lyrical over Man United a bit. It's just you need to understand the shite and tripe that we watched for 10 years there. So to see actual decent football,
I think it's like the first
Wow.
time in a while
It's a breath of
we've been
fresh air.
excited about the future of Man United.
it's the first time in
Or Manchester
a
United.
long time I actually like the team. Like I like the players.
And I like the manager.
and I like the manager. Like I don't dislike the players. Like last year, I disliked the players. I actively
Oh, they
didn't.
threw in the towel last year.
Big time.
In the last 10, 12 games.
I actively didn't watch Man United last year. I avoided Man United like the plague last year. And yes, that sounds a bit plastic or whatever. I don't really care. They just depressed me that much.
Yeah.
I hated watching them. Whereas this season, completely different story. I get so excited now on a game on a match
Yeah,
day.
it's exciting
just-
to go.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, we're playing on Wednesday.
yeah.
Excited to watch this.
Happy days. Go sit down.
Used to be like
Wednesday
like a task
Chore.
to do, like a chore. Like it was just horrible.
So, Oren, overall analysis. What have you liked about Man United this season, and is there anything that still needs to be worked on?
Look, yous have known me for a long while, especially you, Richie. I'm an optimist. United could be 19 points behind Man City and I would still think, yeah, we're going to win the league. Like, that's just the way I am. I'm always going to be optimistic about Man United, even when I shouldn't be, because they always let me down. But, look, I do genuinely in my heart of hearts still think there's the slimmest chance we could be fighting for a title this season. Look,
no,
I don't know.
just
I
listen
don't
to me,
know.
just listen to me. I'm not saying we're gonna. It would take a big slip up from Arsenal, and it would take a major slip up. Well, it would take a major slip up from Arsenal and a big slip up from Man City for us to be anywhere near it. But I do think we'll be up there. We'll definitely not finish fourth.
Look,
we'll be at the very least third.
Third. And good chance at a trophy as well.
Yeah, definitely a good chance at the trophy, which we haven't had realistically in the last few years.
6 years, lad.
Even though we got the Europa League final under Ollie, I did not think we were going to win that. Well, sorry, in the 90 minutes, I thought we should have won it.
Better team, 90 minutes.
As soon as it went to extra time, I was like, yeah, we've lost.
Penalties over.
Whenever we played Middlesbrough last year in the Cup, as soon as we didn't win it in the 90 minutes, I was like, yeah, we've lost. Because I have no faith in them after that. Absolutely no faith in them.
Yeah.
We got used to, especially under Ollie, thinking of a second half team with Man United. I love what De Club, which is what me and Richie affectionately call Ten Hag. I love what he's brought to the club. He loves the club.
He does.
You can tell in every single interview he does. He says, I came here to win trophies. My favourite quote from any Man United manager ever was said about 2 weeks ago. He said, I'm here to conquer England, then I'm here to conquer Europe, and then I'm going to be the best team in the world. And that turns me on. Tell you the truth, that turns me on.
Look, he set the tone right from press conference
Yeah.
1. When asked about Klopp and Guardiola,
Yeah.
eras can end.
Yeah, eras can always come to an end. We've seen how good he is on the personal side of things. It takes a very, very strong manager, especially under Glazer ownership, where they fanboyed Ronaldo and campaigned essentially for him to come back to the club whenever he did return. It takes a very, very brave man to sack Cristiano Ronaldo, one of our most iconic players ever. Look, the last spell didn't work out as well as everybody had hoped, but he sacked them. He made that ultimate decision to get rid of, let's say, the cancer, quote, quote, in the dressing room. And he got rid of it because he's all about the team. He's not about one player. It could have been anybody there. It could have been bloody Pele if he was still playing. Like, it could have been him, and he would have been like, no, you're not good enough for the team environment. You need to go. And I love that because he doesn't have individuals in. At the start of the season, everybody was saying the likes of Bruno Fernandes couldn't play in the Ten Hag system. Bruno Fernandes is excelling this year. His numbers aren't up there with what he has been doing, but in terms of actual playing football and the chances he's creating and stuff, he's playing absolutely phenomenally.
The numbers don't need to be up there.
No,
because
his performances.
There's other players that can compensate for that as well.
Yeah.
Bruno was very heavily relied on a few seasons ago to be the goal getter and the goal creator. He doesn't need to be that anymore because there is quality behind him as well now. People can say what they want, right? I genuinely mean this. I will die on this sword. Man United have the best midfield in the Premier League. I stand by that. In terms of that starting midfield 3, United have the best in the Premier League
This season,
Yeah.
I'd probably say Arsenal.
Would you?
Be the best. They've been the best this season, 100%.
I think Man United of the best.
I think this season though in the Premier League, Arsenal have had the best midfield. Shaq's been class, Partey and Odegaard. I know Bruno.
I would take Casemiro. I would take Eriksen, and I would obviously take Odegaard over Bruno at this current moment in time. But I think overall, I think United do have the best midfield in the Premier League.
When you think about a few weeks ago, so minus the Arsenal game, apart from the first 2 games of the season, we've only lost one other game in the Premier League, and it was against Aston Villa. And Bruno was suspended for that game, and we were horrifying that game.
They were terrible.
Absolutely horrifying, and it shows what Bruno brings to the team. Bruno and Casemiro, in every single game that they've started together, haven't lost a single game in all competitions. Ten Hag's brought that back. He's made Old Trafford. He's making Old Trafford a fortress again. We're going into Carabao Cup semi-final, and look, people can diss the Carabao Cup. The League Cup is still a major cup competition, and for United fans having not won a trophy in 6 years, this is a huge opportunity for us. And if we win this, I'm buzzing.
We're all guilty of when our rivals are winning.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
of course.
When City were winning those 4 in a row.
It's
It's
a Mickey Mouse competition.
Yes.
Look, ultimately, it's a Mickey Mouse competition, but I don't give a shit. I'll take any trophy at this stage.
100%. But we're going into a semi-final second leg with a 3-0 deficit already. Going to a home fixture at Old Trafford with 3-0 up. We're already in the final, so to speak. And Ten Hag's, he's brought that back. It's been phenomenal, and long way to continue.
Connor, obviously, you could talk about a number of Man United players really that have been great this season, but I mean the obvious one to focus in on this year is Rashford. You never really seen this sort of meteoric rise, did you? Especially at 25 years of age.
He started the year so he wasn't great at the start of the year, and he's playing so well now. He's just so confident on the ball and going to players. I do think he has been vital this year, and obviously Casemiro has just completely changed the team, because United, we've been saying it for years. Well, I haven't known you for years, but I'm pretty sure you've probably been saying the same thing. We needed a centre defensive midfielder who could just get the ball back, just sit there in front of the back four and help provide cover. But I do think that, see the League Cup as well, obviously I've dissed it, and if my friends are listening, they know I've dissed it for years. Yeah. But it is a building block. If you can get, under Ollie, we lost a good few finals. So if you could get a final win there, a trophy in early, and just, get that winning culture back, you could it's just going to go...
Just build.
Just going to build.
Yeah.
But with Ten Hag, he showed his authority at the start of the year, especially. with coming out with quotes. He's confident. They got off to such a poor start, but he's changed the team completely. Like even after that 4-0 Brentford defeat, he was out in public. He was like, "That's not good enough. It's disgraceful." Got them in the next day, and since then it's just been a totally different team. And watching Man United is exciting again. And I don't even think he's reached what he wants, or he's not. I think he wants to be more on the ball. I don't think he has the players to do that yet. Yeah. I think he needs, even I've said it before, like I do rate De Gea and I do rate Wan-Bissaka good players, but they're not good enough on the ball. He wants players that can play with the ball. I do think he will maybe want another midfielder. Mm-hmm. Maybe he needs a striker. Yeah. And I think next season, definitely title contenders. I think this season that's over. That's not going to happen. I don't think the squad's deep enough because of like you're seeing it there. We lost Ericsson. And like there's a drop off, you'd be looking at Fred and McTominay, which is worrying to me. If Casemiro got injured or something, I know every team if somebody got injured, but if Casemiro got injured, that's where I would worry. I do think we'll get top 4, but I do think we'd still need another year maybe, and then a good transfer window this summer, and I think we will be title contenders. Which is, can you imagine saying that after 2 games this season when we got beat to Brighton and Brentford? No. Kicked off the pitch.
It's mental.
So I think good times are going to come back to Man United, which, as you were saying, like after last year was just disgusting. Like some of them performances, some of the players.
Worst season I've seen.
Oh, it was they just threw in the towel, like they just didn't try.
No.
And now, they're fighting for the jersey, they're working hard, and there's leaders in the team.
Yeah.
Like the new signings have been leaders. Martinez,
big time.
And Casemiro have just...
It's the work rate. I can't get over the difference in work rate.
I know.
And I know that's what he's known for. He's renowned for intelligent pressing football, not just pressing for pressing's sake, but intelligent presses and knowing when to make pressures. But I can't get over the work rate this year. They have just been, from the Brentford game, the difference in running stats and the difference in just overall giving a shit.
Yeah, I think they got a shock when he first came in because like against Brentford they didn't run.
No.
But then they got taught very early on, if you're going to play my team, he doesn't care who is going to play.
Yeah.
Like even with Ronaldo there, he just dropped him. He says, you're not doing what I want you to do. And you're just seeing it with Ajax as well. Look at them. At the minute, they're completely
in a shambles
because that's how good of a manager he is.
He is.
And I think the next 5 or 10 years, he could really transform Man United, especially if we get new owners.
It's exciting, man.
I do think it's exciting. And usually I wouldn't be as optimistic, but I think this is the first manager we've had since Ferguson that I would be as optimistic about.
I know, I genuinely love him already. Love him already.
He's class, like.
He is. All right, then, boys. Moving on to 5th, Tottenham Hotspurs. So bit in and out this season. Performances haven't been great, but look, I mean, they still have 36 points on the board. They are only 3 points behind United and Newcastle. Yes, United and Newcastle have a game in hand, but like, maybe it's not as bad as what it appears realistically. They have good footballers.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a world-class manager.
Yep.
No matter what way you look at it, he's still a world-class manager. But what do they need to do to start getting things right, do you think?
I think they need to make a definitive decision whether they're sticking with Antonio Conte in the long term. Because if they are, they need to buy players to suit his system. We all know he's a rigid 5 at the back. He always has been. He's very much about keeping the ball and good defensive football and working an attack through defence. So if they are to stay with Antonio Conte, they really need to start making that decision and backing him. Obviously, I've already spoke about Pedro Porro, how I think that really could have turned Tottenham's season.
Yeah.
And I think that is the case in a lot of positions. Connor's after whacking his knee off the table there.
That really hurt.
So wing-backs, quality wing-backs, I think, that need, if they're going to stick with Conte. But with the players they've got at the minute, there just seems to be no real togetherness, to tell you the truth. Like, we've talked about United and City and Arsenal, and we've said we could go and pick the 11, but you can't just pick the 11 for Spurs. Kane's going to play, yes, but you can't pick their entire 11. They need 2 world-class centre-backs. Look, Spurs really do have the quality and really could turn it on, but whether they do or not is different.
Aye, that's just a different story then as to whether they can do that. Connor, look, they're going to miss out on Porro now. Which is going to hinder them. And the one thing I've noticed about Spurs is they do just struggle getting in transition. They struggle to get the ball from defence to attack. And they're getting killed in midfield because they only deploy two midfielders. Yeah. Would you say that the signings just ultimately haven't worked out thus far?
Yeah, I think that signing would have been huge for Tottenham. Obviously getting it right back in, that was a forward threat. They're definitely missing. I do think with Bendon, Kurbak and Kulusevski, it's going to be huge because they have been two of their better players, and they've obviously been injured. And you've got Harry Kane up there, and they're only 3 points outside the top four. And with Newcastle not scoring goals, there's definitely a good opportunity.
To creep back in there.
I think they could nick fourth. To be honest, I think they could get top four, but it is going to fully depend on how they're going to make a signing or two, because they backed Conte last year and he got them top four. Mm-hmm. They got to back him again. And the thing about it as well, he obviously I think it is Tottenham want him for the future, but he just won't commit, which is a weird thing. But I do think Tottenham, if Kane keeps firing, he's like 16 goals this year, they can get top four.
Get into the top four, yeah. And moving on then, obviously, from 5th to 6th, another surprise package who it's strange to see them still so high up the table, considering that they lost their manager, 7 games into the season, but have replaced him with somebody who I would argue is almost playing a better brand of football, and definitely outperforming the guy who has gone to the bigger football club. Mm-hmm. Brighton and Hove Albion, 31 points this season, played 19, they have 9 wins. 9 wins from 19 games. That's massive for a side like Brighton. It is good going. Oren, what do you like about Brighton? Just a nice little transition from Potter to De Zerbi, really, isn't it?
No, look, I think it's great seeing Brighton up there. I know Dorman hates the underdogs, but it's good to see.
That was only the World Cup. That's only the World Cup, lad. Now we're back in the Premier. I love underdogs.
It's good to see a team like Brighton up there. Like they were talking about it yesterday, obviously Brighton have had good seasons, getting promoted and stuff, and winning the championship on occasion and stuff, but this is the best football that Brighton fans are ever going to see, probably. Well, never know. Look, their heights is unmatched with their recruitment and everything. Like we were talking about that young Swedish fella the other day about that they signed. We haven't a clue who he is, but he's going to be going for about 100 million in the next 3 years. Even yesterday's FA Cup win against Liverpool showed me a lot about Brighton. Because they didn't have Moises Caicedo, they didn't have Leandro Trossard, who's away to Arsenal. Like they didn't have some of their superstars that they've been known for playing their best football this year. But it was the young fella Matoma who won the game against Liverpool that they never really looked like losing as well. I love the faith that De Zerbi's brought into the squad, especially their youth players, especially the likes of the young Irish fella Evan Ferguson, who's playing out of his skin.
Revelation.
Looks like he could really be a great talent for years to come in the Premier League. Well, it's just I thought whenever it was announced that Potter was away to Chelsea, I thought it's unfortunate because this is where Brighton collapses. This is where the team spirit goes out of that dressing room. That's it.
You along with
everybody else,
every other football fan.
Yeah.
Realistically.
And I'm not going to sit here and say I watched De Zerbi when he was the manager of, what was it, Zenit or Shakhtar?
Shakhtar and Sassuolo.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I watched him because I hadn't a clue who he was before he became the Brighton manager. But the transition has just been seamless. Yeah. The squad's probably playing better, as you said, Richie. They've got players coming in off the bench playing unreal. They've got their own players such as Pascal Gross playing great football. And look, if Caicedo doesn't go to Arsenal, it would be crucial for Brighton's season, especially if they do want to go far in the FA Cup, which is a real chance for Brighton, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, big time.
Definitely.
Big time.
It's good to see, because even when we've seen cup ties such as Brighton and Liverpool, like Brighton were the ones who put Arsenal out of the Carabao Cup, and they smashed them. What was it, 4-1 or something, or 3-1 or something?
3-1, I think, or 3-0.
3-0, was it? Whatever it was, they smashed them anyway. They've put Liverpool out, and whenever Brighton and Liverpool were put up against each other, whenever that draw was made, I was thinking, I don't see Brighton losing, and that's crazy. Imagine Brighton fans thinking that they can genuinely go into every game thinking they could win. That's huge for a club like that. We've seen it with Leicester whenever they won the league. So look, there's no limit to what Brighton can achieve, and let's hope it continues for a long, long time, because it's good to see a club like that do well.
Well, that's it, Orrin, and I love how you've said that. You know, apart from the 5 teams that are above them, Brighton probably look at every other game in the Premier League and go, yeah, we could get 3 points out of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is...
Especially at home, they could beat anybody.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's crazy to think that, and like that scares me. We still have to go to Brighton.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough game.
It's always a
4-0
struggle
last
anyway.
year.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm worried about that, to be honest,
Yeah.
because they are so well coached and they do play a lovely brand of football, and the recruitment department is so excellent at just getting it right all the time, and it's there's actually a signing that Chelsea made in the summer, David Fofana, the striker. The only reason I think he's going to work out is because Brighton were after him as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I find if you manage to nick a player off Brighton, that's a player that's a decent player, and that's going to turn out to be a decent player. So yeah, look, Brighton have been good to watch, haven't they, Connor? And just as you noted there, they've been absolutely fantastic at home this season, haven't
Yeah,
they?
they're very hard to beat. They've always been hard to beat at home, but especially this season. I think Arsenal maybe is the only team that's beat them.
Yeah.
At Brighton, yeah, they've been unbelievable since this new manager's come in. They just, I don't know, it's just like they play even better. It's like they play a high tempo game. And I seen yesterday he was actually disappointed in their performance. He said they give away the ball too much, and I thought that a bit too. I thought they didn't actually play that well, but still won the game.
Still won, yeah.
And you see the last 20 minutes. There's only one winner there. You knew it was going to be them, and Matoma's goal was world class. Like
Superb.
just that touch and then the finish, unbelievable. Caicedo would be a big miss for them. They won without him yesterday, obviously, but he is a big miss. Like even that Arsenal game, they were missing him and McAllister.
Yeah.
And they still put it up to Arsenal. Your boy Ferguson, he might be injured too.
Oh.
That Fabinho one was horrendous tackle.
I was brutal.
Brutal tackle.
Absolutely
Liverpool,
brutal.
the only thing I would say about Liverpool is as well, like yesterday, some of their tackling was shocking. You know, McAllister got wrecked as well by Robertson, but with Brighton, it's only going to get better, really. And they can sit there and they can say, you have to pay 100 million for Caicedo. Like that is what they have that.
Well, that's it. Like,
And they got rid of Cucurella. That was a great bit of business to get rid of him, to be honest. Big money. He was only in the Premier League
a year,
and he played well against United. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
When they won 4-0, but that was a good bit of business, and they play great football, and it is good to see them play. Even they played Liverpool a few weeks ago, and they just played them off the park.
Oh, completely.
Solly March was
fantastic.
and like he's a player under Potter who didn't score goals, and now he is starting to score goals. So the only way is up for Brighton, and if you're a Brighton fan, you'd be excited and play good football. And even with their recruitment is crazy good, so if they get a few players in there next season, could be even better. Like it could be like a Leicester for them. A few years, Leicester were challenging top 4. You never know. Like you're looking at Newcastle, you never know if you get the right recruitment in. You could be
100%. No, they are. They've been very, very good to watch this year, and like they do, their recruitment department just tends to not miss when it comes to transfers.
But Lallana said it. He said like they got rid of Trossard, Burns, all them players, and they're still top 6.
Yeah,
like that's crazy. Any old club collapse, lose their manager, Dan Burns, Trossard.
It'd be a shambles. But they always seem to get it right.
Yeah.
Another shock then. You know, I love this list from 6th, 7th and 8th. I love it because in 7th we have Fulham, and in 8th then we have Brentford. So we have Brighton, Fulham, Brentford above the mid-table shite that is Liverpool and Chelsea.
It's crazy to see them down there 9th and 10th. Who would have thought that? It's great to see, but it's crazy to see.
Absolutely fantastic. So look, we'll talk about Fulham first then, obviously sitting 7th in the league. Marco Silva, a manager that has really received a lot of criticism over his time in the Premier League, and you would probably say rightly so. You know, he was always excellent at getting his attack organised and playing some beautiful attacking football, but always really struggled to get a defence organised. Completely different story. Now we have you would probably say a more complete Marco Silva, somebody who understands the game a bit better, has that Premier League experience, knows what it takes to shore up and win games. Always helps when you have superstars like Palhinha and Mitrovic. But they have been excellent this year, haven't they, Owen?
Super. It was great business for them in the summer. Obviously coming up from the Championship, you never know what to expect from Fulham. They really are a rubber band type of club where they're always up and down. But yeah, they've signed names like Andreas Pereira, who we were all very used to, and we didn't think he was great, obviously, because he was being played out of position and stuff like that as well. But he's been a revelation for Fulham. He's provided a lot of the assists for Alexander Mitrovic, who again has played in the Premier League on a couple of occasions now, and has never ever lived up to the heights that he lives up to in the Championship.
No.
But he's playing his football now.
It always helps when you come off a 42-goal Championship
Yeah,
season.
Yeah.
of course.
He's like 11
of course.
goals in the Premier League this year.
Yeah,
which
he's
is
playing brilliant.
Really,
He's playing brilliant.
Top
But I would
quality.
say the key, well, in my opinion, I would say the key for Fulham has been the aforementioned Joe Polina and the signing of Bernd Leno. Leno has been phenomenal for Fulham.
Brilliant.
he's the
Absolutely
second most
phenomenal.
saves in the Premier League this season.
Second most saves in the Premier League this season.
He's been brilliant.
superb.
And he wasn't unbelievable for Arsenal. Look, he done his job, but he wasn't unbelievable. So that was a no-risk signing for Fulham because they had Premier League experience. I'm pretty sure he's been in and out of the German teams, whether he's played or not, obviously with the likes of Neuer and Ter Stegen and stuff.
No, he
I'm
has.
pretty sure he's been in the
No,
German
he has.
teams.
He only cost like 8 million,
played
didn't he,
for
as well?
Germany.
He's really
Cost
cheap.
8 million.
That's crazy.
He came from Bayer Leverkusen to Arsenal. Look, he done his job for Arsenal. Was he understudied at Petr Cech for a season?
No.
I don't think so.
No?
I
No.
think he came in and
He come in and
it was
he came
him.
in
Was
to
it a
replace
Spinia or
Jack,
something?
wasn't it?
Spinia or somebody
Yeah.
was about
Oh, yes.
something like that. Yeah.
But look, a fellow with Premier League experience, he's doing his job now. He's guaranteed to be playing week in, week out, which is always good for a goalkeeper when the manager's got faith in them.
look, the question over Fulham was always going to be the back four.
Yeah,
Your boy Diop's been very good.
So
Diop's
far.
been good. What do you call it? Tim Ream?
Tim Ream.
Playing brilliant.
Like, this is a guy 2 years ago that got ripped apart
I know.
in the Premier League. And I said it on our first podcast. I said I wasn't sure about Fulham because they were still going with Tim Ream.
Yeah.
But Tim Ream's been excellent this season.
Kenny Tete is playing good on the right, and
Robinson on
Anthony
the-
Robinson's been brilliant on the left. And obviously, it does help when you do have a world class holding midfielder in front of you, and that's what Joe Polini is. Absolutely world class. How another team didn't snap him up sooner is incredible.
And don't take away from his partner Harrison Reed as well.
No,
he's been
Harrison
good.
Reed's been playing brilliant as well. The
20
American
million as
fellas
well.
are doing well for.
Like 20 million for your boy Polina is like,
Yeah, ridiculous.
ridiculously cheap.
ridiculous. Like,
I don't know how they've done it, but
it's a player who's in and out, who's always in the Portugal squad. He won the Euros with Portugal. He won the Nations League with Portugal.
yeah.
Played a vital role in both competitions. Always performed well in the Champions League and in Europe and domestically for Sporting Lisbon. 20 million for a player like that was a no-brainer. I can't believe another club didn't go in.
Well, it's
Fair play to
crazy.
Fulham.
It's crazy to think he was allowed to get to 27 before somebody
Mhm.
made a move for him. Like,
Mhm. But even still, this is his prime.
Yeah.
27 years of age, this is his prime. And as a holding midfielder, he's still got like 10 years at the top. So fair play to Fulham, and long may it continue as well. As you said, 6th, 7th and 8th. It's great to see them types of clubs up there.
Yeah. And it does just go to show the calibre of manager in the Premier League more than anything, Connor, doesn't it? That, like, you know, you look at all the top 10 sides and you're like, "Phew."
I know.
Well, sorry, you look at the top 8 sides and you go,
Top eight, but even with Silva as well, like he was at Everton and he was a disaster.
yeah.
So I wasn't expecting to see there. Watford, his teams defensively were shocking.
Awful.
He plays good football, but at the back they're very dodgy. So
Yeah.
obviously Polina is a big help because he protects that back four. And
Yeah.
as you said, your boy Reed has really went under the radar too because he has been very good for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you bring in like boys in like Willian and all, and he's playing really well. It's really strange to see
Yeah.
like him in the Premier League again. I think he's like 34 or something, and he's playing well. Mitrovic, and Pereira. I can't believe where that's come out of because when he was at United, I did not rate him at all. I
Yeah.
didn't see any quality. I just wanted to get rid. I think they got him cheap as well.
10 million, 12
Like
million.
he went back to
Flamengo
Flamengo, and then he's come back, and
and bald.
it's just a confidence thing. Like if you're playing football regularly, it just shows. Like, and the pressure of Man United obviously as well. But with Fulham, it is good to see it and see since that first game because I seen them against Liverpool and they were brilliant. And I was like, there's no way they can keep this up. But they have the whole season.
Yeah.
I think they played Tottenham the last game. That's the poorest I've seen them all season. To be honest, I thought they were poor, but maybe that'll be a thing. That they'll probably not come top 8. I don't think because they'll maybe run out of steam. Maybe the squad depth isn't there. But
Yeah.
for them, if you said they'd even stay up this season, any Fulham fan would have snatched your hand off. So it is good to see new teams in there, especially when they're getting rid of like Liverpool and Chelsea. It's good to see, and for the budget they have as well, they've completely overachieved. Like they have played boys like that by Reed, and as you said, Reem, they were in the Championship, like,
Yeah.
and they've just come up and look like Premier League footballers.
Exactly. No, they are. They're a very exciting team, very dynamic. I think they're going to need another transfer window.
Yeah.
I do. I think like you said, Connor, I absolutely agree with you. I think there is a lack of depth there. Not that there's not that they don't have decent players on the bench, but it's not the same as the quality that's on the starting 11, really. So I do think they need another transfer window. But looking at them at the minute, they could be a mainstay in the Premier League now for the next
Yeah, if
few
they can
years.
just stay consistent, stay in the Premier League, I'm sure they take that and then build from there.
Exactly. So they've looked very good. Recruitment's been good, and ultimately, I'll give Marco Silva his props. You know, I didn't expect this from him, but it seems as though that experience of coaching other teams has really helped Fulham out. All right, then lads, moving on to 8th to Brentford. You know, it's really interesting. You know, you've Brighton on 31, Fulham on 31, and then Brentford on 30. So they're almost the same team. I feel like we're talking about the same team here three times.
I know.
You know, great manager, play a great brand of football. Recruitment's excellent. Probably overachieving, but you know, they are the same team essentially. They all just play in different colours. But look, again, another top coach, Thomas Frank. He's shown it over the last few years. The philosophy and the style and his understanding of the game is just unbelievable, really. I actually think out of these three managers here, De Zerbi, Silva and Frank, I really like Frank. Frank would probably be my favourite out of that particular set of managers. Really like that style of football, that aggressive, on the front foot, work hard when you're out of possession kind of football. Look, they have been fantastic once again this year. Does help again when you have that big focal point up top. You know, it does help when you have an Ivan Toney, but I mean, aside from that, Ben Mee, fantastic. David Raya, fantastic. Jensen in centre midfield, fantastic. Norgard.
So
again,
underrated.
is probably just in that bracket below the top CDMs in world football, but is absolutely going to get there. Mbuemo, fantastic. Even Visa, who didn't look great last year, has really kicked on this season. Rico Henry. You know, look, then young guys like Aaron Hickey, Ethan Pinnock. You know, these guys are all good footballers. So what do you make of Brentford then this season? And realistically, what sort of an aspiration are we looking at for Brentford then?
Well, I don't like Thomas Frank myself.
Oh, do you?
I like his style of football, but I think he comes across too arrogant in press conferences. Right. I feel he makes too many excuses. So just on a personal level, I'm not a big fan of him, but I hope he's enjoying the pod. So Thomas Frank, what about you, lad? No, look, Brentford, they're exceeding their own expectations. If Brentford could stop the season now and finish 8th, they'd be happy days. Everybody expected whenever Brentford came back into the Premier League that they were going to go straight back down, but they showed last season that they were a force to be reckoned with as well. Made some crucial signings last year in the form of like Christian Eriksen, brought his career back, brought him back. I just
back
thought,
from the dead.
Well, you see, whenever Brentford came back into the Premier League and they had all these Danish players, I genuinely thought they were just like Wolves signing all the Portugal players. I genuinely thought that's just what it was. But he was signing good players that he trusted, Thomas Frank. So his transfer philosophy is absolutely spot on. How they managed to keep Tony is crazy. Look, we could be talking about a very different position in the table for Brentford come the end of the season if this ban for Tony does come in. But look, what more can you ask of them? This isn't a team that's going to end up in the Champions League places. It isn't a team that's going to end up in the Europa League. It's not a team. Well, it's a team that could be pushing for the Conference League. We were interrupted there, so we do apologise, folks, if you heard the door opening or whatever. But let's hope they do well. Brentford, they have the capabilities. It's always a game as a Manchester United fan that I hate watching. I hate going to. I'm actually going to the match this year and I'm dreading it. But yeah, fair play to them. Fair play to them. They play great football. And as I keep saying about these low-level teams, it's just great to see them up at the top half of the table.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because like normally, you know, most Premier League seasons you maybe get one that surprises you. But this season, it's, you know, 3 or 4 of them that are really, really pushing. And like these 3 teams, Brighton, Fulham, and Brentford, Connor, they're not traditional big clubs as such. Like, you know, we look at even some of the teams in the bottom half of the table that are probably bigger clubs than these three, but you have to look at these three and say that model of running a football club is working and really is kind of the gold standard, isn't it? Like,
It's just the recruitment's just been superb, and like you think about it as well. Like Frank, he had to sell like some of his best players. He sold Ollie Watkins when he was there, and he sold
Ben
Rama. Like they had to sell some of their best players, but they used that money very well. And obviously, Ivan Toney has just been the revelation. 13 goals this season, even with whatever's going on. He has been one of the top strikers in the Premier League. They play great football. The guy Norgard in midfield is so underrated.
He's great.
He was injured and he's came back, and I think it was against City. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He just destroyed them, to be honest. But with Brentford, they play such good football, and with all those teams, it just shows you, like, I think that is where Pep has changed football. Like, a lot of teams used to come up to the Premier League and just sit back and just hope, we'll just hold on, defend. Now these teams are playing better football. They're trying to get on the ball, play through the lines, good football, and it's making the Premier League more exciting. And Ben Mee has been unbelievable, where I don't know where that's come out of, because like he was at Burnley last year, and but then like him and Pope were at Burnley last year, and they both signed for Premier League teams and have been standouts.
Yeah.
So it just shows like you don't have to go spend big money on these centre backs. You can just find within the Premier League. But Brentford, as Warren was saying too, is just a nightmare for United. Anytime I think of Brentford, I just think this is going to be a tough game, and they've beaten like Liverpool this year. They beat United 4-0. Beat City at City.
Yeah.
Again, like last season they were very good. Last season they're very good too. So again, they're just on the up, and it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, they are. They're a great side to watch.
Yeah.
All right, then moving on to 9th, is that wee small club from Merseyside, Liverpool. Oren, what's gone wrong this year? Because you have to look at that league position. 29 points on the board. It's a monumental screw up this season, isn't it?
It is. Out of both domestic cup competitions,
soon to be out of the Champions League.
Soon to be out of the Champions League, potentially when they play Real Madrid. Look, we've talked about Liverpool a lot over the last few weeks. It's not working for them this season. We're all delighted to see it. We're all sitting here with smiles on our faces. It just hasn't went right. For whatever reason, they got rid of Sadio Mane. When if it was either of Mane and Salah to leave, it should have been Mohamed Salah probably, because Mane always provided a lot more than Salah, despite not getting as many goals. He done more for the team, in my opinion. And they replaced him with Big Darwizzy up front, who I've been quite lenient to since the beginning of the podcast, but he is shite.
Even yesterday,
yesterday
came on. He was brutal. He's just shit.
Brutal. Don't get me wrong. He will come good.
No, he won't.
He will.
He will, because I was listening, like this Benfica fan. He was saying the first year when he was at Benfica, he was atrocious. See the second season. See once he started scoring the first few goals, he was really good.
He'll come good. This is a fella who.
We keep saying this one though, but we're going to look stupid.
Oh, I don't care. This was an understudy to one of United's great right wingers, in Facundo Pellistri at Penarol. He was an understudy to Facundo Pellistri, so he was learning from the best.
I can understand that one, to be honest.
Yeah. No, look, they didn't get it right for this window. I think also a major thing was that they didn't replace Steve Origi. Steve Origi done brilliant for Liverpool.
Well, no,
when he was
they
the
have replaced him
with
Darwin Núñez.
Well, he was a Salah replacement.
No,
Firmino's kind of a mystery.
Or not Salah, he was a Mane replacement.
No,
I would say so.
No, he's not good enough.
No, but he was
brought in to start.
He was brought in to be Sadio Mane's replacement. They wouldn't pay $100 million to replace Steve Origi.
Like. He probably was. Oh well.
You'd all have Origi, would you?
He's not better than Origi, that's for sure.
No, that's completely understandable as well. But they didn't replace Steve Origi. They needed a sub striker, and they've signed Gakpo now, and Gakpo hasn't worked out just yet. But again,
tough situation.
It's a tough situation to come into.
But Jesus, he's playing poor.
Yeah, he's not playing great.
His shooting is just atrocious.
But you have to look. This is a player who did tear up the World Cup as well. So there's definitely talent there.
Of course there is.
Yeah,
of course there is.
It's just their midfield. Their midfield is abysmal, and this is a midfield who has been one of the best midfields in the past 5 to 7 years.
It's just old and decrepit now, isn't it? Like?
Exactly, and you can't rely. I've never ever, and as you said, I'll take this to my grave. Never ever thought Jordan Henderson was a good footballer, let alone the calibre of footballer to be the captain of one of the biggest clubs in the world. So look, long may their downfall continue.
Yeah.
Any Liverpool fans, good day. I hope you're enjoying the pod, lads.
Do you know what it is in all seriousness? And look, they would probably say the same thing, when Man United were dominant. They probably hated, well, I mean, they did hate us. We're rivals anyway. But,
of course.
But obviously, when one of the sides is successful, that particular fan base doesn't shut up. But the problem is, do you see some of the shite you've had to listen to for the last
From
few
Liverpool
years?
fans.
It's just hard to listen to sometimes. So, listen, Liverpool fans, this is nothing against you personally. I don't give a shit who you support, really. I really don't. But it's nice to see this, because for the last 4 years, 5 years, you have been best goalkeeper in the world, best right back in the world, best centre back in the world, best left back in the world, best DM in the world, best fucking winger in the world. And yeah, where's your best players in the world getting you now? Because you're currently below, you're below
Brighton,
Arsenal, City, Newcastle, United, Spurs, Brighton, Fulham, and Brentford. Chelsea's hot on your heels as well to snap up that 9th position. There's not a chance you're going to get European football this year. There's not a chance that Chelsea's going to get European football this year. You're going to go out to Real Madrid in the Champions League realistically, because you just aren't good, and Madrid are good. So, normally good teams win football matches.
The biggest of Liverpool fans would admit that this is probably their worst season.
Yeah, and look, again, not an attack on you guys, but, in United's period of dominance, they won 13 Premier League titles, 2 Champions Leagues, numerous FA Cups, numerous.
That's what I was going to say.
What do Liverpool have to show for the 5 years of success?
Criminally underachieved. They've only won FA Cup, Champions League, League Cup, and Premier League.
Cup, Champions League, League Cup.
It should have been winning a lot more.
Exactly.
And Jordan Henderson can't even start now for that Liverpool midfield, and you're playing boys like James Milner, who's just
and Harvey
too
Elliott.
old. Harvey Elliott, who we all know I just think is terrible. He scored yesterday, but still don't rate him. I heard one of them podcasts, they're he's the most bypassed midfielder in the Premier League.
Yeah.
He just can't defend, and attacking wise, he's not good enough either. So
I was lenient on Harvey Elliott earlier this season.
No,
I sort of stuck up for him whenever you had to go at him, because I was like, oh, look, he's young, give him a break. But
I really don't see anything there with Harvey Elliott, and it was because I know a few Liverpool fans. They were like, oh, he's going to be world class. Nowhere near it.
But say,
not even close. He won't even be there.
Shite.
He won't even be there in a year or two. He'll be away. He'll go on loan somewhere.
Yeah.
And then God knows where he'll end up. Championship maybe.
That's the type of.
He needs to go back to the Championship. Back to where's he at? Blackburn or somewhere now?
Blackburn.
He was at Blackburn last year.
That's where he needs to go back to. Enjoy himself there.
Yeah. No,
that is the type of poo-poo you have to listen to with Liverpool fans. And look, yes, we Man United fans commit with some poo-poo too. But your poo-poo's worse than our poo-poo.
They've just had it the last 5 years. They can just say whatever they want. That's the problem. You can just say this guy's class, and even if he's not even playing that well, you have to just accept, because you're just like, oh, they're near the top of the league and all this here. But
yeah.
But who was their main midfield signing in the summer? Fabio Carvalho.
Yes.
Yeah, and he can't even get on. So
it's crazy.
I do think that wee fella's a good footballer.
Oh yeah, 100%. But he's not going to replace.
Was that January or is that summer?
Arthur in the summer.
Well, yeah, you would probably say
unbelievable signing.
You probably say Arthur.
Brilliant.
Arthur probably was their marquee midfield signing.
It's crazy though. It's crazy
And has he kicked the ball for Liverpool yet?
No, not yet.
And Klopp said they're not making any January signings, so you can just basically write them off for the year.
Yeah.
They might come 6th or 7th.
But that's an excuse for him.
Yeah.
Look, it's quite clear that ownership, manager, players are not on the same page right now.
No.
Total rebuild needed,
Total rebuild.
It's
going
to take a few years. That's not just get a midfielder in.
No.
That's a total. Even some of their centre backs are playing brutally, and even Arnold yesterday. I don't know if you've seen it, but
start twerking for Matoma.
Yeah, basically, any time it was 1-on-1, he just basically was give him all the space in the world, and then he'd go in, and then he just just walk past.
Just see him put the ass out for Matoma,
and then he got took off. He was shocked.
Oh no, it must have been Joe Gomez then for the goal at the end.
Joe Gomez.
He started twerking for Matoma at the end.
Arnold he was on the bench watching that goal because he was brutal.
No, look, we've a parlay out with a big Liverpool fan. And it's out at the minute. It'll be going up on the other socials in the next few days, and it's real insight into Liverpool. And we'll need to get a larger insight into Liverpool, maybe a full podcast or whatever.
Well, I plan for the Team Talk series. I plan on getting a Liverpool fan in to
Because they know better than us.
to really dissect what's going on there.
Yeah.
Because look, it's all well and good us sitting here ribbing Liverpool, and
Yeah.
look, we want the viewers to know at home, like, it's just a joke. We are only joking.
Of course.
It's only a bit of like
It's a bit of banter.
they've given
Yeah.
us some stick
It's a
over the
bit of
years, so
banter.
it's just
And look,
back.
I can promise you, when United start to play shit,
You give it back to us.
they will absolutely get
Oh,
their
yeah.
their
100%.
comeuppance.
Yeah.
So it's just a bit of banter, guys. But yeah, enjoy 9th.
On the 10th.
On the 10th then.
Your favourite team, by?
My favourite team, Chelsea. Oren, I can say nothing more than shite. Analyse for me.
Look, this is a team who since the summer has spent over 500 million. It looks like they're going to be spending 620 million because it looks like they are going to get Enzo Fernandez in after all. It looks like they're just going to pay the release clause. Crazy money. 600 million from the summer. And they're sitting in 10th. What the fuck, like?
It's crazy.
There isn't much analysis that can be done now that we haven't said over the past few weeks. It just isn't a team that's clicking. Like, Nottingham Forest signed bloody 24 players and they're clicking more than Chelsea are at the minute. Obviously the league position's different, like, but they didn't spend 600 million.
Yeah.
I do think some of their signs will come good, but this was a team that very much has spent money for the sake of having money. They're trying to buy success, which, as United fans, we know just doesn't work.
Doesn't happen.
Doesn't work. Shout out to Paul Drogba, who was signed for 90 million
And got 0 back.
and got 0 back. Big ups Paul Drogba. Hope you're enjoying the pod, man. Yeah, no, Chelsea's just a mid-table club. A
Yeah.
mid-table club. No, they haven't got the recruitment right for years, so like they spent 90 million on Kai Havertz and that.
Their best player is a 38-year-old. Like,
Yeah.
Thiago Silva
Thiago
has been
Silva,
their
and
best
he's
player this
baller.
season.
He's class.
He is class.
Who, to be fair, you could probably argue is still the best centre back in the
Yeah,
Premier
he's,
League.
he's one of the best in the world. Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
Yeah.
But in saying that,
But they've recruited so much in that position.
Yeah,
Like,
it's,
and it's a disaster
it's
still.
not even centre backs, it's wingers.
yeah.
Why do you need so many wingers?
I know.
There's so many centre backs too.
And they're just not good enough.
They're just not good enough.
Like, they still haven't addressed the problem in midfield.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why they're going for
Why
Fernandes.
as football fans is this so obvious to us, but to their ownership it's like, oh,
I
I
think-
signing a winger.
See, they're trying to get Fernandes or whatever. I think that's just basically a white flag in the season, being like, we have no chance of getting him in the summer because we're not going to get any European
Yeah.
football. So we're going to get him now
Yeah.
and get him in.
Pay as much as you can.
And we'll come like 9th this year,
Yeah.
and then next year will be our year.
I dislike that though.
But that is what they're doing.
They're
That
fuck-
is their strategy, yeah.
They're fucking about with that player's head for a start. They're pissing about with Benfica, which is unfair as well.
At this stage of the window,
Yeah.
they can't get a
It was
replacement.
so
then.
stupid. Like, they should have just bought him at the time.
Yeah.
And
I'm
they
not-
would have had him in for them last few games. Like, they
Um,
could have been big
like,
games for them.
I'm not being funny, but you know they're let's be honest, they're swinging their dick about here, thinking that they are.
Putting their dick on the table.
Oh, well, they are, but like they do, they're thinking they're Billy Big Balls. They think they
Yeah.
can try and bully Benfica here. I'm going to tell you something, Chelsea. Benfica's a better club than you are at the minute, so watch yourselves.
But it's good for us too, because they're getting ripped off by teams like
All right, I'll
Shakhtar.
backhand your club.
But even like their bought Budrik or whatever, they overpaid for him.
Boudrick.
Or Mudrik. I tried to say Mudrik.
Hey, some of the names you come out with.
Boobdrick.
I tried to say Mudrik. That was the only one I've made a mistake today. Mudrik. I tried to say Mudrik. I said Mudrik.
I know, but
Um,
do you think this Caicedo transfer could end up being like Mudrik? Or Boudrick, sorry. Do you think it could be like that there?
Mudrik's top player, lad.
Boudrick's baller.
Just got to give him a chance.
But
Like.
you see Arsenal put in a £70 million bid for him.
Well, if they're
today.
going to get Fernandez or your boy from
Well, say that
Benfica,
doesn't
they're not
happen.
going to sign him.
But say that doesn't happen, Norman. Do you think would you be surprised if Arsenal don't get him for 70 million, Brighton stay firm in the 90 million, and Chelsea come in? Oh, 90 million, let's get him.
I'd be surprised if Caicedo even left, to be completely honest. Brighton, it's like you said earlier, Connor, like they can charge whatever they want. And they're in no urgency to sell.
Yeah.
They're in no... they're in no position to sell, as in, like, they don't need to sell him. Realistically, they've already lost Trossard. They got a good fee for him, so they're probably in no rush. They're probably happy enough to hang out till the summer,
Yeah.
and just say to Caicedo, no, you're gonna finish out the season here until we can get a replacement. See, that's the thing. You know, maybe if this was 2 weeks ago, you could look at it and go, yeah, this is more of a realistic prospect because there's still a chance for Brighton to go and recruit somebody else. now, with it being so late in the window and there only being, 2 days left?
Yeah, today and tomorrow.
Today and tomorrow? No, I don't see it happening. I see Caicedo staying at Brighton and Chelsea to remain in the mud, to be completely
They would take like
honest.
100 million bid to get him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and
Maybe-
I don't think either of
maybe-
them like
maybe
Arsenal won't do
more.
that either.
Maybe more, in all seriousness. You know, if Enzo's
They
worth
hold the
100,
cards.
if Enzo's worth 120, Brighton could probably charge 120 for
Yeah,
Caicedo,
Good.
because you are getting that Premier League proven player.
Who's on a long contract, so Brighton really do hold all the cards.
Exactly. There's no need to sell from Brighton here, so it's going to take a massive offer. But like, that's the thing with the transfer window. Anything can happen. So maybe just don't write it off yet. But I would, if I was a betting man, Caicedo stays at Brighton, to be completely honest. All right, moving on then to guess the player, and then
We'll do our mid-table or mid-season team of the season,
yes,
or will we leave that for the second episode?
maybe leave after the second
one.
episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, as we've kind of just given away, it's going to be a two-parter. We've done the first 10 teams, and we're going to do the second 10 teams in next week's episode. Okay, so moving on to guess the player. Who am I? So at the moment we're on 2, 1, and 0. McCardle isn't here today, so he's still going to be in 0. That's on him. So Dorman, you hold the cards at the minute. You're leading at the minute. 2. Connor Richards with 1, controversially according to Dorman.
Controversial.
But let's move on. So for the folks at home, if you weren't listening last week, we started this segment of the podcast. I'm going to read out 5 facts about a player in world football, and you have to guess who it is. You can buzz in at any time. Let us know on our socials if you get it right. Okay, so number 1. I am the first British footballer to make 100 UEFA Champions League appearances. Number 2. I have won 19 major trophies over a 20-year career. Number 3. I have played alongside Adrien Rabiot, Klaas-Jan Huntelaar, Diego Forlan, David Moyes, and Steven Gerrard. Number 4. I have made 115 international appearances, and I was my country's captain.
I'm bamboozled
We're just taking
here.
blanks. Like, I just
Okay.
don't think.
Last one. You should be getting it. I am a 6-time Premier League winner with Manchester United, and I am considered a legend of the game.
What was the first?
I'm going to read through all
read
of
them
them.
through.
Anybody want to buzz in just before?
I have an idea in my head, but I don't want to say it.
Okay.
because I may be completely off.
Well, that's all. You both have to do a guess anyway, but
Yeah.
I'll read through them all 5 points quickly again. I'm the first British footballer to make 100 UEFA Champions League appearances. I have won 19 major trophies over a 20-year career. I have played alongside Adrien Rabiot, Klaas-Jan Huntelaar, Diego Forlan, David Moyes, and Steven Gerrard. I have made 115 international appearances and was my country's captain. I am a 6-time Premier League winner with Manchester United, and I am considered a legend of the game. Legend of football. I'm going to give you 10 seconds.
No,
It's worth a guess. 5,
British. And
British footballer.
4,
I've got Ryan Giggs.
3, no, 2.
Michael Owen, I don't know.
The answer
6.
was David Beckham
When did Bax play with Adrien Rabiot?
at PSG.
Was Rabiot even playing at
He-
that
when he
stage?
played with Gerrard?
17. He played with Gerrard at England.
Oh yeah. Fuck.
He played with
I never
David
thought
Moyes
that.
at Preston when he was on loan in
Oh,
1995.
that's
He
I'd
played with
never
Klaas-Jan
got that.
Huntelaar at AC Milan, and he played with Diego Forlan at Manchester United.
That was tough. That was tough.
I thought that was the easiest one. So sorry.
That was
You
hard.
will get the next one. Okay, so the points are remaining the same.
Owen would have got
2 to Dorman. I would have. 2 to Dorman and 1 to Richie. Folks at home, let me know if you got that one. Okay, number 1 for the second one today. I am a Champions League winner.
Are you back? Well done.
Thank you very much. Some people just don't know about me. Like, I have played with Aaron Lennon, Alan Shearer, Emil Heskey, Jerome Boateng, Eddie Howe, and Taiwo Awoniyi. I am a 3-time Premier League winner. I am currently playing in the Premier League.
Oh, this is bad.
And the last clue. I have made over 600 Premier League appearances and I have 61 international caps.
You go through it again.
Okay.
Because you forget.
Just go with the players that he played with.
Yeah, that one's a big one.
Well, I'll go through them all again just for the folks at home. I'm a Champions League winner. I've played with Aaron Lennon, Alan Shearer, Emile Heskey, Jerome Boateng, Eddie Howe, and Taiwo Iwaniwi, the Nottingham Forest striker. I'm a 3-time Premier League winner. I'm currently playing in the Premier League, and I have made over 600 Premier League appearances and 61 international appearances. 10
This is
seconds
bad,
starts
lad.
now.
We're blanking here again.
5 seconds. Time's up. Connor, what's your guess? Richie?
No idea. No, I'm not
No
even,
guess?
Not even guessing.
Dormant?
I don't even know.
The answer is James Milner.
I would never have got that. So
Neither would I,
there's-
neither would I.
There's not even like I could have got that. No.
James Milner played with Aaron Lennon at Leeds. He played with Alan Shearer at Newcastle, Emile Heskey at Aston Villa, Taiwo Iwaniwi at Liverpool, played with Jerome Boateng at Manchester City, and Eddie Howe when he was on loan at Swindon.
See, the thing that put me off was the 3 times Premier League winner, but obviously he won them at City.
2
I
with
just-
City and
and
one
one at
with
Liverpool.
one
I
with
never
Liverpool.
got that.
Okay, last one.
Still going to be 2-1.
You might need to make these just a bit more easier.
I know, lad. You
They're
were
meant to
going
be
to so
difficult.
stupid.
You're
meant
coming
to be
out. You're
difficult.
coming out with players' names here that are so far apart from
Exactly.
one another. Like,
That's how it's meant to throw you off. It's not meant to be easy.
Is this the hardest one?
Well, I don't know. Like
You said the first one was the easiest, we didn't get it.
the
so-
first one probably was the easiest. I thought you would have got it when I said 6-time Premier League winner in Manchester United. To tell you the truth. Okay, number 1. I have played with Cristiano Ronaldo, Patrick Kluivert, Deco, Marco Arnautovic, Patrick Vieira, and Anderson. Man United legend. I have won 7 domestic league trophies. I am a Champions League winner with Inter Milan. That should narrow it down a lot. I have 274 goal contributions in 672 appearances.
I might as well go for it.
And I have played...
Buzz, Atto.
No.
I'm out then.
I'm going to finish that 4th point. I have 274 goal contributions in 672 appearances, and I have played in England, Spain, Dubai, Italy, Portugal, and Turkey. Number 5, the last clue. I won the Euros in 2016 with my country.
can't even remember who won Euro 2016.
I think I know it now.
Portugal, and it's a Man United legend.
No. Anderson was a Man United legend.
Oh, well then.
Portugal played for Inter. Sorry, was a Champions League winner with
He
Inter
won the Champions League with Inter.
in
and won-
2010.
Yeah, and won the Euros with Portugal in 2016.
I don't know what then.
Quaresma?
Yeah, Eduardo Quaresma.
I wouldn't have got that anyway, so.
He did
Or
play-
Ricardo Quaresma.
Quaresma,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. Ricardo Quaresma. So it's 2-2 going into next week.
That was tough.
That was
Yeah.
rough.
That was difficult.
Yeah. Well, folks at home, let me know if you've got them. I know a couple of people will have got them, especially true Man United fans. No, I'm joking. Yeah, no, look, they're not meant to be easy. I'm not going to make them easy. Maybe we'll make it a wee bit easier,
lad.
for you too. As you said, Owen would have got all 3 of them.
Yeah.
It's
Story,
just
wouldn't
it's the generations of players. They're like they're so far apart. From
And
one
well, that's what
another.
it is. That's to throw you off.
Yeah.
Because if I had said for the David Beckham one, he was in the class in '92. He
Yeah,
played with
that'd be
Beckham.
easy,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You would have got straight away.
Like
David
I
Beckham.
didn't even know Taiwo Awoniyi played for Liverpool. Like
Yeah,
I didn't know that
he
at all.
he played for Liverpool before he went to Union Berlin, and then he went
Right.
from Union Berlin to
to Forest.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he
Didn't
was a
even know
youngster at Liverpool, and then obviously Adrian Rabiot was still a youngster at PSG.
Again, I
And
didn't even
David
think
Beckham was
Rabiot didn't think Rabiot was still playing football at that
Yeah.
stage, you know. And I forgot that Huntelaar played for
there.
Milan.
Milan. Yeah, well, so did I until I
You
looked
know?
it up. I didn't even know Huntelaar played for Milan.
Oh no, they were tough. Like they were tough.
Yeah.
Definitely tough. All right, well, that's going to do it for part 1 of our mid-season review. So for part 2 that will be coming as well, we're going to look at the next 10 teams in the Premier League, and we are going to be doing our midway point team of the season and talking through our choices there, really. Hopefully we have a one back for that one. Also, if you're listening to this episode, check out our first episode of Team Talk, which is up on the Bottom Bins YouTube and all other platforms as well. I sat down and chatted to my brother Oshin about Tottenham Hotspurs, and we're going to try and get a few guests on over the next few weeks to talk about clubs that we don't get to delve deeply into here on the Bottom Bins, because we are all Man United fans. So.
And we do watch the Premier League every week. We try to watch as many games as we want, but we don't know the ins and outs and the depths of a football club apart from Manchester United.
Exactly.
So it'd be good to listen. I haven't even heard the episode with Oshin, so I'm looking forward to listening to it myself.
I'm going to be honest, boys. It's a good episode.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing, because I like to hear about other clubs. Obviously, we've worked in the way for the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Bournemouth, some of the lower league teams and all as well. So let's hope we get one. Let's hope we get a fan for every team in the Premier League.
Well, that's what we're hoping. I've already got a Bournemouth fan organised. I have a Leeds fan organised.
Brighton.
I have
Liverpool.
I still need to get Liverpool and Brighton organised. I have Everton organised. So I have a good few clubs organised anyway, ready to go. They'll just be recorded over the next few weeks. But listen, once again, thank you so much for all the support. Please follow us on all our social media handles. It's at Bottom Bins Pod on everything. That's Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok. Keep an eye on the TikTok, some funny content going to be going up there in the next couple of weeks. Like I said, just thanks so much for all the support. We do really appreciate all the listeners and some of the lovely feedback that we've received over the last few weeks. It has been really nice. Again, Parlay Sports app as well. Check out our parlay content. That's going to be going up on TikTok and on Instagram as well for those who don't have the app. But we do strongly encourage that you go and download that Parlay Sports app.
It's future.
It is future of football conversation, and
we fully believe that.
We're definitely backing it to succeed. So keep an eye out for part 2, and as always, keep a bottom bins.
Keep a bottom bins.